Trent Dawson was not just a high school student. He was the king of Lincoln High. At least, that's what he believed. With his blonde hair, charming smile, and rich parents, he thought he could do anything. Most students stayed away from him. Not because they liked him, but because they feared him. He walked through the hallways like he owned them. Teachers gave him extra chances. Other boys followed him like shadows. Girls laughed at his jokes even when they weren't funny. Trent knew he had power, and he liked to use it. Every week, there was someone new he picked on. A quiet boy, nervous freshman, someone who wore old clothes. Nobody stood up to him, nobody dared, until one day. Someone new walked into the school. Her name was Amara. She was quiet, calm, and didn't seem interested in anyone. She had long black braids, always wore her headphones, and kept her eyes on her books. She didn't smile much. She didn't laugh at Trent's jokes. She didn't even look at him. That made Trent curious. "Who does she think she is?" he asked his friends. One of them shrugged. "Just some new girl. She transferred last week. Keeps to herself." Trent smirked. "Let's welcome her to Lincoln High, Dawson style." The next day, Amara was walking to class when Trent and his group blocked the hallway. He leaned on the locker next to hers. "Hey, new girl," he said with a fake smile. "What's your name again?" Amara kept walking. She didn't answer. His friends laughed. "Oh, I see," Trent said, following her. "You're one of those smart girls, huh? Too busy for us normal people?" Still, she said nothing. She simply opened her locker and pulled out her books. Trent frowned. Nobody ignored him like that. Ever. So, he reached out and touched her shoulder, trying to spin her around. "Hey, I'm talking to—" But before he could finish his sentence, Amara grabbed his wrist and twisted it. Fast. Trent's face went pale. His knees almost gave out from the pain. In one smooth move, she had him pushed against the locker, his arm behind his back. The hallway fell silent. Students stopped walking. Some dropped their phones. No one had ever touched Trent before. No one had ever dared. Amara leaned close and whispered, "Don't touch me." Then she let him go. Just like that. Trent stumbled back, holding his arm. His face red. His pride crushed. His friends stood frozen. No one laughed now. Amara picked up her books and walked away without looking back. Word spread like fire. By lunch, the entire school knew. The king had been embarrassed, in front of everyone. Trent sat quietly. At his table, his jaw tight. "She's going to regret that," he muttered. But what he didn't know was this. Amara wasn't just a regular student. She had a secret, and once it came out, Trent's life would never be the same. Everyone at Lincoln High was still talking. About what happened in the hallway. Amara had taken down Trent Dawson, the boy who ruled the school. Some students called her brave. Others whispered that she was dangerous. But no one really knew who she was. Where did she come from? How did she know that move? And, most importantly, who taught her to fight like that? Trent was furious. His ego was crushed. For the first time, people weren't scared of him. They were watching her now. "She embarrassed me in front of the whole school," he said to his friends. "She thinks she's strong? I'll show her who's in charge." But deep inside, Trent was nervous. Amara's eyes, her calm voice, the way she moved. It was not normal. It was like she had been trained. That evening, he searched for her online. He found nothing. No photos, no posts, no old school records. It was like she had no past. The next day, Amara sat quietly in the back of her math class. She didn't talk to anyone. She just listened, wrote in her notebook, and kept to herself. But someone was watching her. Mr. Carter, the school's oldest teacher. He had seen many students come and go, but there was something about Amara that caught his attention. After class, he walked up to her. "You've got strong discipline," he said. "Where did you learn to move like that?" Amara looked at him. Her face was calm but guarded. "My dad taught me," she said. Mr. Carter nodded. Was he in the military? She gave a soft smile. Something like that. That same day, Trent followed her after school. Not to attack, but to learn more. He saw her walk into a small gym across town. The sign said, Warrior Defense Academy, private training only. He peered through the glass. Inside, Amara was training hard, punching, kicking, and moving, fast like a professional. A tall man stood near her, watching closely. He had a strong build, sharp eyes, and moved like a soldier. That must be her dad, Trent thought. Who is he? Later that night, Trent asked his older brother, who worked in security, to look into the academy. When his brother returned, his face looked serious. Trent, that man is not just any trainer. That's Colonel Darius King, ex-Special Forces. Retired early, one of the best. Trent blinked. Wait, her last name is King? Exactly. You messed with the wrong girl. Now Trent was scared and confused. Why would someone like that send his daughter to a normal high school? What was Amara doing here? And what would she do next? Trent could not sleep. He kept thinking about Amara and how she twisted his arm like it was nothing. He remembered her eyes, calm, sharp, powerful. Nobody had ever made him feel that small before. His friends told him to forget it. But Trent wasn't used to losing. His pride was hurt, and his anger was growing. I'll get her back, he whispered to himself, in front of the whole school. But this time, he wasn't going to use force. He was going to set a trap. At school the next day, Trent acted differently. He smiled more, walked calmly, even nodded at teachers. Everyone thought he had changed. Even Amara noticed it. Looks like Trent is behaving today, one girl said to her friend, but it was all fake. Trent had already made a plan. He and his friends created a fake Instagram account and started messaging Amara, pretending to be someone else. A quiet, kind boy named Ethan, who had just moved to town. The messages said, Hi, I saw what you did to Trent. That was brave. I wish I had your strength. Amara didn't reply at first. But slowly, after days of kind words, she started to respond. Trent smiled at the screen. Gotcha. He planned to invite her to the school library after hours, where he and his friends would be hiding. They would take pictures, make fun of her, maybe even post videos online. They wanted to embarrass her like she embarrassed him. Everything was ready. But Amara was always 2 steps ahead. The day of the trap, Trent waited in the library with 2 of his friends. The lights were low, the halls were quiet. His phone buzzed, a message from Amara. I'm almost there. They hid behind shelves, laughing quietly. But instead of Amara walking in, the principal came in. Behind her were 2 teachers, and behind them, Mr. King, Amara's father. Trent's face went white. What's going on? He asked, trying to hide his panic. The principal held up her phone. We have screenshots of everything. The fake messages. The plan. The time. The place. Trent stepped back. We were just joking. No, said Mr. King in a deep, calm voice. You were planning to hurt my daughter. Again. One of the teachers added, and this time, it's not going to be ignored. The next morning, the entire school buzzed with news. Trent had been suspended for 2 weeks. His friends were banned from after-school activities. And a formal warning was placed on his school record. But the worst part? His reputation was gone. People no longer feared him. They laughed at him. You tried to trick the wrong girl, one student whispered. Meanwhile, Amara walked through the hallway the same way she always did. Quiet, calm, focused. But now, people looked at her with respect. Not fear, not pity. Respect. Trent sat alone during lunch, staring at his tray. He was no longer the king. Amara hadn't just defended herself, she had exposed him, and this was just the beginning. The news about Trent's suspension spread across the school like wildfire. No one could believe it. Trent Dawson, the biggest bully in Lincoln High, was finally punished. And the girl who did it? She didn't shout, fight, or even cry. She just stayed calm. That's what made her different. But still, no one really knew who Amara King was. Where did she come from? Why did she move to this school so suddenly? And how did her father, Colonel Darius King, have so much power, even outside the military? People whispered in the halls, in the bathrooms, even during class. But Amara never answered questions, until one day, someone found a clue. Jason, a quiet boy who loved reading, was sitting in the school library. He searched Amara's name on an old newspaper site, just out of curiosity. He expected nothing, but one headline popped up on the screen. Colonel Darius King wins case against corrupt mayor, with help from his teen daughter. Jason's eyes widened. He clicked the article. It said Amara had helped her father gather information. She knew law. She knew evidence. She helped expose bad people, even adults with money and power. And now, she was here. At their school. Jason showed the article to one of his friends. Within minutes, it was shared in group chats, stories, and posts all over campus. By the next morning, everyone knew Amara wasn't just strong. She was smart. Dangerous smart. Trent returned to school after his suspension. But nothing was the same. Students avoided him. Teachers watched him closely. Even his old friends kept their distance. He was no longer feared, just ignored. And worst of all, they now admired Amara, the girl who brought down the king without shouting once. At lunch, Trent heard students talking. She helped bring down a mayor? She knew her rights better than the principal, I heard her dad trains. Secret agents. Most of it was rumors, but no one cared. They believed it, because Amara had already proved one thing. It was Monday morning. The air in Lincoln High felt different. Everyone was waiting for something to happen. They didn't know what. But ever since the school assembly, Amara King had become a name people didn't forget. She was the girl who stopped the school's biggest bully. She was the daughter of a former Special Forces colonel. She was the girl who exposed truth and stayed calm while doing it. But no one expected what happened next. Mr. Benton, the social studies teacher, was running late. The class sat quietly, unsure what to do. After 10 minutes, the principal walked in. "Students," she said, "Mr. Benton won't be here today. But instead of a free period, I've arranged something special." Everyone looked around, confused. Then the principal smiled and turned to the door. "Amara King will lead the class." The room went silent. "Wait, what? Amara, the new girl?" Even Amara was surprised. "Me?" she asked softly. The principal nodded. "Yes, I saw your file. You helped your father gather legal evidence in a real investigation. I want students to learn something from you. Something real." Amara stood there for a moment. Then she walked to the front of the class. She placed her notebook on the desk and looked at her classmates. "Okay," she said. "Let's talk about something nobody teaches in school." The class leaned in. Amara wrote 3 words on the board: power, fear, truth. She turned around. "Do you know why bullies win?" she asked. "Because people stay quiet. Because they believe they are weak." She paused. "I used to believe that too, until I learned that truth is more powerful than fear." She shared a short story about how she helped her father gather files, record secret meetings, and even face threats. All for justice. Every eye was on her. Even the class clown wasn't joking. Even the loud girls in the back were silent. Then she said something that hit everyone. "You don't need muscles to be strong. You don't need a loud voice to be heard. You just need courage and facts." A student raised their hand. "But what if no one believes you?" Amara smiled. Then you don't stop, because the truth stays the truth, even if nobody claps for it. From the hallway, Trent was watching through the glass door. His fists were clenched. He couldn't believe it. Amara wasn't just winning, she was leading. And the students who once followed him now looked at her with wide eyes and open minds. "She's taking over everything," he whispered. He didn't know what to feel: anger, jealousy, or fear. One thing was clear. The girl he tried to bully was now the girl everyone listened to. And she wasn't finished yet. Trent couldn't take it anymore. Everywhere he went, people whispered about Amara. Not him. She had become the voice of the school. Teachers praised her, students followed her, even the principal trusted her. And Trent, he was just a shadow of his old self. He watched from a distance as Amara helped other students, stood up for the quiet ones, and even started a group called Student Voices, where anyone could share their problems safely. But Trent wasn't done yet. Inside, he still believed he could win. "I just need one big move," he told himself. One final strike. The next day, Trent slipped into the school office when no one was looking. He had seen the principal type her password before. He remembered it. He quickly opened Amara's file on the school computer. What he found shocked him. Amara's school history was not normal. She had changed schools 4 times in the past 3 years. Each time, right after helping her father expose someone corrupt. One line in the file stood out: "Family relocated after receiving multiple threats." Trent's heart skipped a beat. He printed the file. His plan? To show the entire school that Amara wasn't just a student. She was part of something bigger, dangerous, and maybe even fake. He thought students would turn against her. That Friday, during a student assembly, Trent stood up with the papers in his hand. "Wait," he shouted. "Before we all clap for her again, let me tell you who she really is." Everyone turned. He walked up to the stage and held out the file. "This girl has been hiding something. Her dad's a military spy. She doesn't even stay in one school." "She's not like us," whispers began. Amara stepped forward, calm as always. "I don't hide my past," she said. "I protect people from it." Trent laughed. "Oh, really? Or do you just like playing hero?" Then a voice came from the crowd. It was Jason, the quiet student who once found the news article about her. He stood up and said, "You're just scared because someone finally stood up to you." Another voice joined. "She's helped more people in 1 month than you did in years." Then a girl stood. "She listens. You used to scare us." And one by one, students began standing up. Not for Trent, for Amara. Trent's face turned red. His hands started shaking. He had thought exposing her would bring her down. But the truth? It made her stronger. Because Amara had never lied. She had faced fear. She had faced threats. She had faced him. And still, she stood tall. Trent slowly walked off the stage. No one stopped him. No one followed. He was alone now. For real. As Amara turned to speak, someone whispered in the crowd, "She didn't just beat him. She replaced him." Weeks passed after Trent's final attempt to bring Amara down. But something had changed at Lincoln High. Not just the students. Not just the teachers. The whole atmosphere felt different. There was less fear in the hallways, less silence in classrooms, more students were speaking up, and it all started with one girl who didn't shout, didn't fight with fists, and didn't run away. She simply stood her ground. Trent never returned to his old ways. He still came to school, but quietly. No more group around him, no more cruel jokes. Some said he finally understood what it felt like to be alone. Others said he was just waiting for a chance to strike again. But Amara didn't care. She wasn't watching him anymore. She was busy building something better. The Student Voices group she started? It had over 200 members now. Students came in during lunch breaks to talk, share problems, or just sit in silence without judgment. The quiet kids, the bullied kids, even the popular ones. They all sat in the same room and listened. One day, a younger girl stood up during the meeting and said, "I was scared to talk before, but after watching what Amara did, I want to speak now." Tears filled some eyes. Even the teachers who joined the meeting clapped softly. Then came the biggest surprise of all. The school announced a new student council election, and the principal said something that made the whole auditorium go still. "For the first time, we are adding a special role, student justice leader, someone who will help us listen to students, make fair decisions, and stand for what's right." Everyone knew who the first one would be. They didn't even need to vote. They just chanted one name: Amara, 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 on the day she wore her new badge. Amara stood outside the school entrance. Not proud, not showing off, just peaceful. Jason walked up and smiled. "You changed this school." Amara shook her head. "No, we did. From a quiet girl who sat alone in class, to the one who made bullies sit down, to the leader who taught everyone that silence can be broken. Amara proved one thing. The strongest person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who dares to stand up when no one else will."